following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac.
Right? Looks like I got everything. I think I just need one last thing. Something to listen to. Oh, there's somebody. Sir. Yes. I was looking for, say, a podcast here.
Oh, yeah, we have those, yes.
I'm looking for not something so retro-y or, new pop culture, something a little bit old pop culture, but yet fun and exciting.
I can help you here. I got an idea. Follow me over here to aisle 9. That's where we keep all our podcasts, right next to the fruits and vegetables. Here we go. And here we go. We got a vast selection. Everything from Joe Rogan, of course, the Rogan podcast. It's very big, very popular right now.
I'm thinking something a little bit more low scale.
Okay, low. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Lower scale. What about Mark Maron? His podcast?
No.
Lock the gates.
I've been hearing about this weird, I wouldn't say it's weird, but this up-and-coming podcasting network called BICBP. Do you have a BICBP radio network?
Oh, yes, it's right here in this section over here. Here we go.
Okay.
Right here, just above the southern section. They're right near the barbecue. Here we go. Right underneath the Reba McEntire albums. And, yes, there's Eat Sleep List. That's a really good one. I do recommend it.
I've heard about that one. It's very good, but I don't think I really want to listen to that one right now.
You said retro, right? You said retro? I got an idea.
Retro.
This podcast doesn't really do anything anymore, but what about Retro Bliss?
No, I've heard about that one and Retro Pop. Very good. Never go out
very,
of style,
very
those
good.
two. Those two never go out of style. I'm thinking nostalgia, maybe? Maybe not set it so much into a time period, but like a period in time, but a time and period where it made you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Anything nostalgia-wise?
Well, speaking of periods, right here next to the tampons, very absorbent, by the way. Highly recommend. But right here right next to it, we have the Nostalgia Funhouse. What do you think about this?
Yeah. You know what? I like that one, and yeah, that sounds perfect. But do they have a sponsor?
It's a brand new season for everybody's favorite Supermarket Sweep. Are you ready? Set, go! Run wild at the chance to win $5,000. Grab everything you can get your hands on. There's great fun, super giveaways, and fantastic prizes on the Zany Show, where time is money and smart shopping makes all the difference. Don't miss the all-new Supermarket Sweep. Today at 1 p.m., 12 Central, only on Lifetime.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, Andrew.
Do you hear that beep?
Hold on, let me listen. I'm listening. Yeah, I do hear a beep.
You know why you hear that beep?
Why? Somebody backing up?
No, because it's time to talk about Supermarket Sweep.
Oh, come on down.
Hey,
Let me ask the crowd, does anybody out there have the Crest toothpaste? Guess what? You're now a contestant.
Do you have the grape Jello?
God, man. Good pull.
Oh,
no terrible connections there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta listen to the panel discussion.
So today on the Nostalgia Funhouse, we are, of course, talking about the one of the
I'd say cult classic game shows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's. I mean, there's people that would say it's iconic, but I would say this is more of a cult classic game show.
Yes, from the early 90s, we're talking Supermarket Sweep. Andrew, before we kind of get into it, I grew up this being one of the quote-unquote game shows that our family watched. You know, I have very strong memories of when I was a little kid, and if I wasn't in school and it was on a Friday, I went grocery shopping with Mom. because that's when she would go grocery shopping, and me and my sister would go with her, and that's why that woman's a saint to put up with that. But I just have very strong memories of the supermarket of all things. So when we would watch Supermarket Sweep, I'd be really into it, and I'd be right up there trying to guess, the prices of items, and be like yelling at the people, well, hey, you should grab this. I'd always get really interested in what the big, the big inflated bonuses would be. Those would be my favorite part. I don't know why. Just things like that. I was really into this show for like 2 years.
I was huge into this. This was I'd say, I don't know. I remember watching more Summertime, and I would watch this and Shop Till You Drop on Lifetime.
Oh, I remember that show. Yeah.
Yeah, the mall version of Supermarket Sweep. But I remember watching this constantly, and it was the only time where grocery shopping was actually seemed fun.
Fun. Yeah.
Was on Supermarket Sweep. But I did not. Did you know that it was also in the 60s?
No. I'm obviously very familiar with the 90s one. That's the one I think of when I think Supermarket Sweep.
Did you watch the newer version that they had in like was it?
I only watched the 90s one.
Okay. So you're a purist. Good job.
Yes. Those other ones don't exist in my eyes.
So if you don't know what Supermarket Sweep is, it is a game show.
Get on our level. Just get on.
And like Johnny said, okay.
I'll tell you what Supermarket Sweep is. It's like one of the greatest ways for product placement in a TV show in history.
I would say so, yes. Yeah.
Like they all name all these products by name, but it's the gist of it is it's a game show. There's 3 teams of 2.
Yep.
And they're competing to get time in which they'll have to do the quote unquote supermarket sweep part of it, where they're running through, which is always the best part, where they're running through the supermarket trying to get with the goal of coming up with the items that cost the most in the end.
It's like the Temple Run in Legends of the Hidden Temple, but with shopping carts.
Yes. Yeah.
But to get into those, like there would be the question round games. My favorite one is like which one is under $1, which one's under $3, which product's on sale, which I normally just destroy because I'm the one that goes grocery shopping in my house. So even with inflation, I have a pretty good idea
right, yeah,
of what something costs, where my wife just gets lost in the sauce on that one. She's much better for the one where the letters come into play.
That's what I was going to bring up. I had forgotten how much of this game show is word puzzles. There's a lot of word puzzles here.
Yeah. Even when they're like, hey, here are the answers that you can pick from, but not all of them we're not going to ask, not every question is going to line up with, all of these answers because we only have so many questions.
Yeah.
And everything else. The mini sweep in the beginning.
Yes.
Love the good old mini sweep. I always like to see adults run around trying to grab something.
Yeah. The mini sweep is one of your teammates has to go into the supermarket. And by the way, that set for that game show is amazing. It's really, it's so involved.
Now I watch guys, what is it? Grocery games. And I like that one, but I still like Supermarket Sweep better.
Yeah. Yeah. But you get a product and you got to go find that product in the store, basically.
And like Johnny was saying, you are playing up to get to a big sweep where you have a certain amount of time to get as much product as possible to win the game. You get bonuses, you'll get a secret shopping list in other episodes like later on, because it did get revived real quick in like the 2000s. I remember if you grounded coffee, this is you can tell the difference in the episodes of which one you're watching because they kind of look the same, but the host David Dobrik, I'm horrible with names. He goes from wearing, I know I shouldn't say this name, Bill Cosby sweaters to like a denim shirt with
and he goes from wearing like Mr. Rogers sweaters.
Okay, Mr. Rogers sweaters. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We'll use somebody who was actually good.
And that's how
He wears some pretty bright sweaters in the '90s version.
I like it when he does like the bagel thing. I don't know why, but I couldn't. Could you remember that if he's like, here's the
No.
grocery list?
No,
I, I like we've talked about this on the show. I can't even remember my kids' names if they're like
me and
a
you both have
can
really
of-
bad short-term memories.
Yeah. if they're like a can of Johnny and I could not be on the show together.
No, I really think me and you would get a lot of time because I think we could really get through the games to get the time. But when it comes to the actual sweep, our memories are
Oh.
pretty awful.
Yeah. They'd be like, we need a can of Dole pineapple chunks. And Johnny'd be like, I don't know, just grab anything.
Yeah, it's
Just get to
Doles.
the
That's all I
roll.
remember. I'll remember Doles, and that'll be it. Yeah.
Grab anything Dole. Here I am just clearing shelves. And I didn't realize, did you know that there was main rules in the big sweep?
Yes. The only reason I knew this was because I was reminded of it on the episode I watched. In that you can only get there's a item tap out. You can only get like 5 of one item. You can get
Yep.
no more than that. There's the grocery list, which is 3 items, like you said, and each one of those is like a bonus money. It's like $50 each, I think. Is that right? Something like that. Something in that vicinity.
Or no, you got to get all of them.
Or do you go get all of them for
You
like
got to get all of them.
for like $200 or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think of the other rules. Oh, you're only allowed to get one of the bonuses. You can't get any more than one. I can't. That's the only ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, so if an item is knocked off of a shelf or otherwise upset or damaged, the runner who did so either had to replace the item on the shelf or put it in their cart or take a $25 penalty for each item. Teams were also penalized $100 for running into supermarket displays, cameramen, or other personnel, including opponents. So if you ever wonder why they just stopped the shopping cart, because even I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
That is because they will get
The penalty. Yeah.
only runners could be in the market. Their partners had to remain behind that line, and the partners could only cross the line with permission from the producers, typically to pick up drop items, bonuses, or to take part in bonus activity that required their participation. And then somebody wrote this as I'm reading this because I was like looking through stuff. I guess from 90 to 91, I did not see this. Costume characters such as Frankenstein's monster or a gorilla or a creature named Mr. Yuck ran through the aisles during the sweep. The character
I remember this.
if the character came near the contestant or vice versa, the contestant had to turn around and go in the other direction.
Yeah, I do remember this.
Hit the character, a penalty was also imposed. The characters were later dropped. So you remember this?
Yes, it was very similar mechanic to like Legends of the Hidden Temple, where they're running through that obstacle course and there'd be those like Aztec type warriors or whatever, like hiding, and if they caught you to be a penalty type thing. It was very similar to that. I definitely remember that. It was not in any of the episodes that I've watched for this though. On Tubi, which is where I watched the one I watched this morning, which I am going to get into because I got some parts of it that were very funny to me. It was all from like 91. It was like season 2 of 91 is
Okay.
what's on there. And by then they'd already dropped that apparently because I didn't see any of that.
Yeah. Because here's other ways to earn money because there was searching through the canned fruit or canned foods. Find a mystery product or movie. These were in like the later ones. Retrieve a sack of empty cans for your partner. Oh yeah, the stack or crush. I remember seeing these in the older ones. Grinding the coffee beans, weighing and bagging $1 worth of it was always Brock's candy. Making a sandwich using every ingredient on the table. Finding a token and popping the balloons. I do remember that.
I remember popping balloons. Yeah.
I do remember that. But that is pretty much it. And then you go on to get a chance to win $5,000. And I didn't realize, like, I'm thinking to myself, I could use $5,000, but once again, as a kid, I was like, that's a lot of money. Even as an
Yeah.
adult, I'm like, that's not a lot of money, but I will take $5,000.
Yeah, it'll help. Yeah.
But you have to go and do a series of riddles and then find
It's basically like a what do they call those hunts? Where you get clues to
Scavenger
get to the next. Yeah, thank you. Scavenger hunt is basically what it is.
But that is Supermarket Sweep in a nutshell.
All right, let me tell you about the episode I watched today,
Okay.
this morning. All right, there were 3 teams. 2 of them were just like normal looking teams. I mean, just you had your guy and your girl, right?
Yeah.
The third team was 2 cheerleaders.
I think I watched this episode.
The 2 cheerleaders, by the way, dominated.
They were like were they
They were college age.
they were college age. They were team number 1, right?
If I'm thinking, I think so. Yes. Yes. But they dominated. Like they didn't have like 3 minutes of time. I mean, it was ridiculous. Left and right, they were just destroying. But what's very funny is right before the sweep, they kind of go to each team and sort of get to know them really quickly. And again, these are cheerleaders. So what are you going to ask them to do? Hey, how about you do us a cheer?
This is the one that we watched this together. Or we didn't watch it together, but I watched the same one.
And the cheer, it's very simple. It's like 3 quick movements, but the gist of it is they go, Dave, go. And Dave is the host. He really liked it. He was a big fan of it. And he goes, I think I just went. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean?
He seemed very awkward. I have some facts. I have some things that I wanted to bring up about him as well, but I'll wait until we get to the end of our little review.
Okay.
And during like some fun facts.
Oh, crap. And at the very end, because spoiler alert, these cheerleaders win the $5,000. Actually, they win $6,000 overall. They literally dominated this thing. They run up to him and they're just hugging him and they're all over him and he's having a grand old time.
Are these the cheerleaders? I just sent.
Oh, Andrew is sending me a picture.
Yeah.
Let me look. Yes, that's them. That's exactly them.
Oh,
yes.
okay. I watched this episode. I know. Okay. I just wanted to be the verification.
Yes, that's them. Yes, that's them. Very early 90s style. What's the like hairstyles and stuff for sure. Yeah.
So that was because I do remember they asked David was like, hey, like I know him by his first name. Was like, hey, to team 2, he was like, hey, do you guys have a cheer? And they're like, we forgot it. We were like,
yes.
we're not doing this.
He didn't even ask the third couple. He just introduced him. That third couple got the shaft overall, I think. Like they didn't really get any time for anything. The other question I had is when the lower teams lose, they go, oh well, they lose, but they got some really good parting gifts, but they don't tell you what those gifts are.
They never do. I like the parting gifts.
I want to know what they are.
Like I was watching another game show I'd love to review is Remote Control. There's a couple of episodes on YouTube and they tell you the parting gifts.
Well, I mean, you're big fans of the Nickelodeon kids game shows and, Double Dare and all those. Whenever a kid was eliminated or whatever, they would say, hey, here's the prize you win. They'd always tell you what the prize was. I was like, just tell me what the prize is. I want to know.
I'm looking it up. Parting gifts, supermarket sweeps. The only thing I can find the contestants got to keep is their shirts. There's a lot of articles. This is off like some Reddit thing.
Wow.
There's a lot of articles, but it looks like they're all referencing one source. So pretty much you just got your shirt.
Your team colored shirt is what you got to keep. Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah.
I mean, it is bad when it could have been that or $5,000. That's 2 very different prizes.
It is, but if you're only giving away $5,000, don't you think the shirts are the only thing you can? And it's not like, what are they going to do? Wash those shirts?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good keepsake from like, hey, I did this cool thing.
So Supermarket Sweep was picky about the contestants too, but yeah, that nobody even mentions the parting gifts because there's a whole Double Dare has a whole thing where you can look at every gift given out on Double
Yeah.
Dare.
Yeah.
But on here, you just don't. They're like, hey, you get a sweatshirt. Maybe that's why they don't say it, because where are you going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this if all I get is a sweatshirt.
Well, I think a lot of people do it just to be on TV.
Yeah, but a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Maybe do they
Yeah.
get to keep their money that they get from?
They don't say they do.
Yeah, geez. So hey, just get off my stage and
Yes.
go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think so.
So some of the things I grabbed from the review is obviously I mentioned the Mr. Rogers sweaters because Johnny doesn't like my Bill Cosby. Just make fun of you. You know what else I did love is like the little after like the first round of questioning right before the first commercial break in quotes if you're is like the knowledge like quiz thing going on where
Yeah.
hey, do you ever wonder how much a shopping cart is worth or anything like
Yeah, he always give like little facts. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that. I loved seeing the old products and logos. And I loved Johnny Gilbert. I mean, that's got to be the huge name stake. If you don't know who Johnny Gilbert is, he also says, "This is Jeopardy."
Yeah.
And
He's a namesake. Like as soon as you hear his voice, you'll recognize it. Very recognizable voice.
and I love his narration throughout the whole entire Big Sweep run.
Yes. Yeah.
And then,
He kind of does play by play in a way.
yeah, I love it when he's like, there was one episode I was watching, and he was like, "It's like what's going on in aisle 3?" And then all of a sudden it got real low, and it's like, "Oh, it's just Ron." like there's really nothing going on over here.
This is off topic. Well, it's kind of on topic.
Yeah.
But my buddy Derek told me about this YouTube channel. And they're not big, but the gist of it is these 3 grown men, and they watch old episodes of the Nickelodeon show Guts,
Oh, geez.
and they do a draft of the 3 kids, and they try to see which kid wins, and there's stakes involved. It's really dumb and stupid, but I do recommend it.
It sounds pretty decent there.
Yeah, let me find the name of the channel real quick. Jom Boy, John Boy. It's one word, and Jake TV is what it's called.
They should do it for Supermarket Sweep.
I think so too. Maybe we can sort of go that route.
Yeah, I think we should do a little Patreon.
Yeah,
type deal.
My one complaint would be this is nitpicking for Supermarket Sweep is I think they should have looked at what Price is Right does and do more of that because they only really have one product pricing game.
Yeah.
And it's a supermarket show. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, but then
like they could have went another way. Like, hey, here's the price. I'm going to give you a price. Which one of these 3 items is this price? Like, you can do all kinds of things with that and kind of go different ways with it.
You're saying there should have been more instead of just the one section.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just one section. It's just one quick thing. They don't do it more than once.
Yeah, I could see that. Then later on, in like the ones where I was watching a little bit into the 2000s, they started asking questions about movies, which we would have just destroyed because then being a movie like a VHS section in the supermarket.
Well, that's true. When I was a kid, we'd always shop at the Kroger. We had a Kroger, and that's where Mom would always go. And I'd always get stuck in their video section. I got really excited when they got video games when I was a kid.
How cool was it to see a magazine rack?
Yes.
There. That is, I mean, there still exist magazine racks, but I don't feel they're as good or as big as they were. Like a magazine rack used to last an aisle pretty much.
The grocery store magazine rack was where I got my my love of Batman of all things, because they would have the local one here would have like Batman comics there,
Yeah.
comic books, stuff like that. Like I have such fond memories of the magazine rack. I would get that. I would get video game magazines. I would get wrestling magazines. I'd get all these
They
different.
should have did the magazine racks because those
Yeah.
things are pretty pricey.
Even back in the day, they were like $4 or $5.
Yeah. Right now, I look at a magazine price and I'm like, no, I'll just look it up online.
Yeah, it's getting.
Oh, like $15 for a magazine. No, I'm good.
Yeah, when that used to be like you can get 12 of them for that for a subscription.
Yeah.
We're old,
But-
Andrew.
I overall liked it. I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying about the pricing. I kind of like the word game where knowing your product and everything else and the nice wordplay games. That was I like that one a lot. I mean, I really didn't have too many complaints or anything.
And it whizzes by again. Like if you take commercials out of it, it's like 22 minutes long.
It's crazy, just easy
Yeah.
breezy right through. But Mental Floss has some 10 fun facts about
Oh.
Supermarket Sweep. So number one, the meat was fake, which everybody kind of wanted to know but I want to know if they got the weight to it though.
The one that I saw acted like it because that guy was kind of juggling some of those big meats he's trying to put in his buggy. So I think they did have some heft to them, but I mean you can't have things that would quote unquote have a chance to spoil. Oh, okay, all right.
Well, fun fact number two.
Well, they could have
Now
refrigerators.
that we're
I
done
guess.
talking about those big old Farmer John hams, if I had to hear Farmer John ham one more time.
That's what I call my thighs. I put that on my dating profiles. Check out my big old Farmer John hams.
There's some old Supermarket Sweep contestant like, yeah, that's what I wanted on. But you only got 2. I know I can get 5.
I got 2 butt cheeks. It's like 4 at least.
So a lot of the food was expired. They shot
Oh, okay.
for 5 months every year and they used the same food over and over and over again.
Yeah, because nobody's eating that stuff. Nobody's
No.
using that stuff.
A lot of the food have been thrown in and out of carts for 3 to 4 months. Had gotten pretty beat up as well. Cause you figure I thought about the 2, never thought about it as a kid. Cause as a kid, you don't think about cleanup as much.
Right. Yeah.
So when I was watching this, I was actually thinking like, imagine that's somebody's job is to go back through the store and take these carts and put everything back onto the shelves.
Andrew, true Johnny fact I'm about to drop on you. My first job ever when I was a teenager in high school was working. I don't think they exist anymore, but we had a Winn-Dixie grocery store.
Ooh.
And I worked there as my first job as, of course, a stocker. And that was my job, was to go around stocking shelves and fixing shelves after customers had gone through. That was one of my jobs. And you would not believe the mess that people just leave. And this is when they're not in a hurry, like they are in Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, they're in a big hurry on this one.
Yeah. Side note, just to add to the nostalgia, I worked at the Winn-Dixie right in the height of Mark Martin, my Mark Martin fandom. And that worked out because one of his cars was a Winn-Dixie car. So I got to see that car on a lot of Winn-Dixie products. I was very excited about that.
Number 3, winners didn't get to keep the food. I mean, that's probably a given.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Given what Ruprecht said above, contestants were probably thankful for that. According to Great Big Story, they didn't get to keep their sweatshirts either. But even though I don't know, there's a mystery in there. They got to keep the $5,000 or whatever they won.
So they got to keep the money. So is that what they're saying?
Yeah. But
okay.
Keep your
All right.
sweatshirt. What do? Wash them?
I think I'd rather keep the money.
Yeah.
I got to choose between the money and the sweatshirt. The
I'm
money's
gonna
winning.
choose the money.
Yeah. I
Sweatshirt's
can get a
pretty-
sweatshirt with that money.
pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
So this is more like a pro tip in a way. Beauty products could win the game for you. Heading for the beauty aisle instead of the meat freezer could very well win you the game. Those who use this strategy won instead of 5 hams and 5 turkeys, load up your cart, get 5 hair colorings, and get 5 of all of these expensive hair beauty products, which I do have a wife and a daughter that dye their hair and have beauty products, and I believe this 100%.
Yeah, very expensive stuff for sure. The other thing too that's very much a pro tip here is I cannot stress enough how important the bonuses are,
Yeah.
because and when I watched this morning, the team that you would have thought would at least got second got last because they didn't get a bonus item, and that made them they lost the game purely because of that.
Got to get the bonus, your mini sweep. And if you're not Johnny and I, remember the grocery list.
Yes, yeah,
Or get your bag of Brock's candy. And I can remember Brock's candy, but I could never remember other things. Get your certain bagels. I always loved it when he was like, I need 1 everything bagel, 2 plain bagel. Number 5, for contestants, personality was key. It is a TV show, so vibrant personality. So that's probably why the cheerleaders made it.
yeah.
So, just have a vibrant personality and you can get on. The other thing when you mentioned the bonuses, now that it just jumped in my head, talk about having a bad memory. How do you feel about them leaving their carts to grab the bonus and then run it back? Would you have taken the cart with you or try to drag the bonus?
I think because I did see. I mean, that was always a strategy where, like, hey, for the first 2 times, go out first time, grab the bonus, and bring it back, then go out and bring the grocery list and bring it back, and then grab your cart and go to some areas. Like, I get that strategy because you're in a hurry. You only have a fixed amount of time, and especially the bonus item was always like an oversized
Yeah.
object, like like an oversized Tootsie Roll, for example, and it would take up a lot of the cart if you put it in the cart. So I get it, but I think if it was me, I would have just used the cart personally.
I felt bad for the one episode I was watching. The lady grabbed this Jolly Green Giant bonus, but it wasn't like inflatable. It was like made out of plastic, and the legs fell right off. So she had to go back and get the legs. I'm thinking to myself, couldn't you have been like, do I need the legs or do I just need this top part where the sticker is?
Yeah, I would think I would make her go back and get the legs.
Yeah. Contestants wore Dickies. But by winning, they didn't get to keep the sweaters because they all got paid. But if you lost your consolation prize, yeah, here it is. Consolation prize was you got to keep the sweater. But you didn't get to keep the Dickie. So like the little like tie thing?
Does it mean the shoes? Is their shoes Dickies shoes?
I thought it was like the
Isn't Dickies a shoe? Am I wrong?
I'm typing into Google what is a Dickie.
Yeah, it's always good to type in Dickies in Google. You're gonna get some great results here.
It's that little like turtleneck thing where it's not like a full sweatshirt or full.
Oh, so it's a shirt then.
Yeah, that's why they all look like they're wearing turtlenecks.
Oh, okay. I just assumed those were sweaters. That's what I would have called them.
That's why they all have collars and everything else. Ah, very tricky supermarket sweep. Here's number 9. This one kind of upsets me in a way. Contestants got to map out their routes to prevent contestants looking like chickens running around with their heads cut off. The show allowed some time to strategy. This is probably during a commercial break. When you're taping a show before the supermarket round, you get about 10 minutes or so to walk around the supermarket because you can see the prices. Everything has a price on it, and then you know how to map it out from there.
I mean, if everybody's doing it, then it's fair. But in my opinion, the more fun would be you don't let them do that. And like whatever strategy they have coming in is the strategy they're using.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's like, oh, go grab the Tide.
Yeah. I mean, by the time
Okay.
you're like in season 2 in your own supermarket sweep, I'm going to assume that you're overall familiar with what the game show is.
Yeah.
And you know that it's, or at least a grocery store, because they do a pretty decent job of laying out the grocery store how a grocery store would be. It didn't feel very random with product placements and stuff. You know, like you didn't see the meats, you know, just out in the middle of nowhere. They were like where you would feel they would be in a grocery store.
Oh, I actually skipped a couple here. So here we are. Winning during the taping did not guaranteed you'd actually collect your winnings. So this was a syndicated show. So
Yeah.
every episode got taped, and you didn't know if you were going to get the money if you won unless it was aired, which could be 6 months later because they had to sell it.
Wow.
Yeah. So on the bright side, even if you didn't collect, at least you could always say you played Supermarket Sweep. Yeah.
So in other words, if you could go through and you could win, but if you're a dud, they're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If they can't sell your show,
Yeah.
then you're out. Shootings lasted 12 to 14 hours. So this is where the audience comes into play. Where
Yeah, that's why you'd always see the same ones, because they probably taped what, like 5 or 6 in a day.
Yeah. We literally get into the room when they get called back. Be prepared to be here. It could be a 12, 14-hour day because there are 3 parts. 3 pairs of people on each show. That day, I want to say the taping was something like 8 shows.
Yeah,
We had
that makes
48
sense to me.
people just in a room. First thing they taped was the introduction where you run down to the camera. Everybody got introduced to host David Dubrat. I'm just screwing up this guy's name. Then they call you back if you tape the first segment. Then they call you back and then you tape the first segment. So it was 12 hours. Holy cow. But it sounded like they got paid to be there too. So
I would hope so.
the
I mean, it probably wasn't a lot, but
would you spend 12 to 14 hours sitting there waiting,
that doesn't even guarantee you're getting on the show.
but they're not going to pay you?
No,
No, I would.
it's 12 hours.
I'm that type of loser.
Am I young? Like, are we talking like, let's say Johnny's in his early 20s? Sure.
Yeah. Now would no. Now that
Now I wouldn't. I
no,
wouldn't even think
no,
about it.
no, no. If you record a podcast too late, you get
That's true.
you turn into like 80-year-old Johnny.
That's true.
Back in my day, we had bedtimes.
Yeah.
Don't you people got stuff to do in the morning?
It just really annoyed me
I'm
when people
sorry,
who
I
are.
did a southern accent too.
No, it's all right. I'm used to it. Mock me all you wish. You're in Texas now, so
Oh yeah.
you're probably surrounded by it. You want to get corrupted by it at some point. It always
Yeah.
happens.
I'm still can't get over the politeness of people. Like
Yeah, but in fairness, a lot of it's probably pretty fake.
yeah, but still though, it's still so okay. So it's not that bad that I kind of like ignore it or I don't know how to handle it right away.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay, because
I've always, I was raised to be very polite, and I think most people. I mean, I was joking. I think most people in the South are fairly polite if they're raised that way.
Yeah.
But a thing that always annoyed me is like one of the big things the South does is if you're entering a location and somebody's near you, a stranger, you hold the door open for them. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just a common courtesy type of thing. I've had the door held open for me by strangers and vice versa, right? But I always got annoyed when somebody would be like, "That person didn't even thank me," and I'm like, "Well, then you held the door open for the wrong reasons, my friend. You held it open so you'd get thanked for and you'd get that that acknowledgement. That's not why you do it. You do it because it helps somebody out. You know."
yeah, because it's been pretty cold, like New York cold here.
Yeah,
Past
it's been in
couple
the
of days.
teens here. Yeah.
Yeah. So and the sun finally was like out and everything else. Like we had a dusting of snow, and then my daughter was like, "Where'd all the snow go?" And I was like, "We live in the South. It's not gonna hang around for a while."
Yeah.
And So I was picking my son up from school the other day, and there was like another mother came up to me, and then she was like, "Oh, it feels nice that the sun's out." And she doesn't say like hi or anything. She just like says it. So I'm like, yeah. And then I like went to the van. And I was like, that was really awkward. I made that really, really too.
Yeah, she's just trying to start a quick conversation. She didn't
Yeah.
need it to be a deep one. She just wanted
No.
to throw something out there. Yeah.
So here's one that
You'll
might
get
shock.
there, Andrew. You'll get there.
I'm hoping. There's a lot of as what did somebody say? Hard calluses when you live in New York on you. Uh and then the final one is the supermarket was really, really small. It got a it was a little bit bigger than a bodega in the city. Bodega is like a corner store, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So
That's what they call a lot of those stores in New York City. A lot of them are called bodegas.
it's very tiny. It looks huge, but it's small. Even the aisles, you had to be careful. If you and your cameraman were running and another group was coming down the aisle, you had to make sure that you were all the way to the side, or there could be an accident. Which
That's
just kinda
probably
shocked
that's
me.
probably why they did let them plan that stuff out. Right? Is the actual size of the
Yeah.
place. I mean, I'm with you though. I'd rather they didn't let them do that because it just adds to the chaos and the fun of it. But I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it now that I saw that.
They do a good job of filming it, making it feel bigger than it is.
They tape it very well.
Yeah. Are we going to give this a rating out of
Of course
5?
we are.
Yeah.
Oh, so David Ruprecht. You are gonna love this guy even more.
This is the host.
This is the host. Uh he was in a little movie.
Oh,
Uh I'm just gonna say a name from the movie.
okay.
Khan!
He was in Star Trek too.
He was the voice of the Kobayashi Maru captain.
That's cool. I'm not even going to lie. That's really cool. I do like that a lot.
And the only reason why I looked this up is because in one of the episodes I was watching, the guy said he was going to school to become a game show host, and he was like, "Oh, kind of like me." And I was like, "Oh, I wonder if he did any other thing in his career." Because most people, when you look it up, it's just the one.
Yeah.
What is that? The the Wish Jeff Probst from Legends of the Hidden Temple. I can't remember his name. I mean, he just was like picked randomly, but David Ruprecht has like this extensive thing, and like I said, he was a full house. He was on Full House. He was a TV announcer, Beverly Hills 90210. He was in Family Matters for an episode.
Well, if he's connected to Family Matters and Star Trek, this guy wins for
Oh
me.
yeah, he was in Punky Brewster, Married with Children, Small
Man, your just name
Wonder,
is this guy had a great career.
Webster, Simon and Simon, Too Close to Comfort. There's other cool, like there's St. Elsewhere, but I don't care about that. Airwolf, Three's Company. But yeah, the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island.
What?
He played.
I adore that.
I
By the way,
want to know where this is.
have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen.
It's fantastic. When I was a kid, my two favorite things, well, still to this day, I love basketball. Right, always loved the Harlem Globetrotters, especially when I was a kid. And growing up, my favorite syndicated television show was Gilligan's Island. I loved Gilligan's Island as a kid. So when my mom was like, "Hey, did you know the Globetrotters are going to be on Gilligan's Island?" That was appointment television for me.
How do we watch this?
It's got to be somewhere. It's got to be streaming somewhere, right?
Please tell me.
I'll look it up while you're doing whatever you're doing.
Is it an hour long thing? Because here's one. Oh yeah. Maybe that's a review. But yeah, that's pretty much it there for the supermarket sweep. I think How should we
All right.
read this?
Well, before we do that, real quick, it's called the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island. It was a special that came out in '81. It was 2 hours long.
Oh,
Just to give you an idea of, it's a really short explanation of it. The basketball team and a mad scientist
oh yes. You got
join
me hooked.
join Gilligan, Skipper, and the rest of the castaways.
You got me hooked. The minute you said the Harlem Globetrotters and a mad scientist, how could you not watch that? You got to be able to watch it. But
I'm looking to see if it's on.
on the YouTube there.
There's clips on YouTube, but I'm not seeing the full thing.
Yeah. I actually have a show for us to review. I have a request. So, but we'll talk about that off, I guess, air as you call it. But like I said, what was so should we do
Oh, I just got really excited. Gilligan's Island is streaming, but I don't think. Which I'm gonna go back and watch this. I love that show, but I don't see the actual Globetrotter special anywhere, which sucks. I want to see if I can find other means to find it for us.
I used to watch a lot of Sanford and Son when I was a kid, and the Monkeys.
Yes, yeah. Sanford and Son was big for me. That's another topic. Like, what syndicated TV shows from before your time did you grow up watching?
Yeah, mine was like Sanford and Son. It wasn't quite off the air, but I used to watch a lot of in syndication. Give Me a Break.
Yeah.
Love that show.
Yeah. Big Gilligan's Island here, and A-Team was a big one.
Oh, give me some.
Knight Rider, of course, was huge. I'd love to go through and think about all these shows that I loved when I was a kid. Mork and Mindy was really big for me.
Yeah, like the old Nick at Night too. Like we used to watch, what is it? My Three Sons. My
Yeah.
mother was big on that. My Three Sons. Oh, Welcome Back, Kotta. That's mine.
Yeah. Mr. Kotta. And of course, Golden Girls was huge in my house.
Yes. Yeah. That was on, I think, right before Oprah or after Oprah. Because I lived in a house with one TV, like we normally did. So
Yeah. Same.
yeah. So
I didn't get a TV in my room until I was a teenager.
yeah, I think I was about 16.
I want to say I was 14, 15 around
Okay.
there.
I did have a TV in my room, but it was so old that it didn't have the, what is that, coax cable hookup. You actually had
Yeah.
to buy the adapter, screw it into the TV. There was like the two like screws
Yes.
top. And
Yeah.
you had to screw that down and do it. And one of the screws got loose, so I would have to put something on there so
Yes.
I wouldn't lose. And I didn't have cable, so I went off of whatever I could pick up, but it was mostly to play. I had an old VCR, so it was mostly to play VHSs and to play Super Nintendo.
I want to say maybe I did have, because when I got my Nintendo for Christmas, I also got a small TV with it. I mean, it was really small and it was in black. It was a black and white television on top of that. But when you're like, a little kid playing Mario, you don't care.
I remember playing the Atari 2600. We had a black and white TV.
Yeah.
And
But I still remember being blown away when I got to play Super Mario Brothers on a colored TV. Like my parents one time, because I was really good, let me hook it up to the TV in the living room for like an hour.
ooh,
And my little kid brain was blown away by how cool it looked. All right, how are we rating Supermarket Sweep?
by Beeps, Farmer John Hams.
Yeah. How many Farmer John Hams are we giving this?
Yeah, because we can only do up to 5.
I like that's perfect. Yeah.
Because they said if you go back and watch it, they say it a lot. So when you think of a game show, we think of the iconic ones, especially kid growing up.
Yeah. You think Jeopardy, you
Jeopardy,
think Wheel of
Wheel of
Fortune,
Price is Right.
Price is Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like Double Dare. I consider, a lot of people call me crazy. I consider that up there.
I do too. I think it's a
This
classic too.
I think it's borderline iconic, but I think it's still, if we're gonna be real, like I said, it's a cult type thing.
Yeah.
Because once again, ABC tried to bring it back because they're probably like, oh, this is old. Let's see if we can get a crowd to watch it again.
If they bring it back now, it'd just be like people sitting at a computer, online shopping. What can you get
Get it
DoorDash to bring
Instacart.
you?
Yeah, it's the cart delivery. That's how the teams play. One person puts stuff in the cart, and then the
Yeah,
other person,
another
has to
person
go-
waits at the door for the DoorDash guy to deliver it.
How fast can your Instacart guy get to your house? Will they lose money by paying extra for express delivery? Let's find out. You're going to lose some points because you did not leave a tip for your driver.
Always leave a tip. Always leave a tip.
Yeah. But okay, so out of Farmer John Hams, it's a cult one. I'm gonna say this is a 4.
4 out of 5 Farmer John Hams.
4 out of 5 Farmer John Hams because I wanted to go like 4.5 all the way to a 5, but it's not on the same level as your Jeopardies, your Wheel of Fortune,
Right. Yes.
and those other ones. It's a cult one.
Yeah. I'm and then I want to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Farmer John Hams. I'm in the same boat as you though, as in to me the big level would be your Jeopardies and your Wheel of Fortunes, like we mentioned. This will be kind of like put in that next level of you have Supermarket Sweep, you have the Pyramid Game,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's in that vein
even
for me.
Family Food, I would have to say, is in that iconic level.
I'd put Family Feud on the top
Yeah.
tier for me, but yeah.
Press Your Luck is another one I'd put in.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, stuff
man.
like that. Yeah, or Hollywood Squares, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I was playing that the other day on Nintendo. That's damn it. I got to do that for a Let's Play. I think when I get done.
I was still blown away this year. I was this year when I learned that very iconic Star Wars holiday special. One of the writers on it was Bruce Valanche. Still blown away by that. I don't know why that blew me away, but it did.
I know who Bruce Valanche is, but South Park ruined it for me.
South Park ruins a lot of things.
When they come on saying with the Cartman one, and they're like, "Why is Bruce Valanche here?" Bruce Valanche. But that is it. Oh, and shout out to Nick O for requesting this. This was a listener request.
Yeah. Follow our social medias.
Yes.
Andrew does an awesome job on those. Join the growing Facebook page. It's really happening over there. It's on Instagram too. But you can message us if you have suggestions of, hey, you got a show idea. What if also, we get a lot of these, and I know they all mean well, of if we need help promoting our podcast, please. Those aren't bots at all. Those are obviously real people who are like, hey, I specialize in promoting podcasts. I'm sure you do, partially with 5 followers. We get a lot of those. That's
Yeah,
what we decide. If you do a podcast, I guarantee you had somebody, one of those, reach out to you.
As I promote the podcast exactly the way they probably would have promoted the podcast as through
Yep.
social media.
Yep.
Also, YouTube, and YouTube, you can also listen to episodes on there as well, because YouTube now you can just put our RSS feed through there.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Matt Johnson for doing that for me, as that was probably a pain in the neck as he was doing something important. But yeah, so all of our episodes, even the older ones before we became the Nostalgia Funhouse, are all up on YouTube. There's no video to them, but you can listen to them through YouTube now as well.
Yeah.
So pretty much wherever you get your podcast.
And I know that was really big of Matt because we're obviously a very Southern podcast, and we know how he feels about that.
Poor Matt. Poor Matt.
I know people don't know, like, Matt's one of our closest buddies. I love Matt, but it's really fun to make jokes like
I
that.
told him with the King of the Ring one. I was like, I used you as a tiebreaker. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, I did it if I could remember if the wrestler was nice or mean to you. That's how I choose. And if they were mean to you, I said that they deserve to lose. It's like, I gotta listen to this. Hey,
Yeah.
if somebody's mean to your friends and somebody
Yeah.
as loyal and great as Matt,
Yeah.
you're
Honestly, I'm not even kidding. This is a behind the scenes here. Our buddy Matt, who does Eat Sleepless, go check out that podcast.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's really good on a podcast too. He when he was younger was a professional wrestler up in the New York, Albany, and Buffalo area, right? Like in that area.
yeah, he went all over. I think he even did some stuff in Canada.
Yeah. So he got to meet a lot of the bigger name professional wrestlers who would come through there. I mean, he even got to do some extra work for WWE, stuff like that. So he got to meet a lot of these people, and he would tell us these stories of who was cool and who was not cool. Some of these big name people were complete a-holes. Really, some of them you would expect,
Yeah.
but other ones, like I'm not even kidding. I always like Jake the Snake Roberts, right? Like I think he's an incredible promo. Fascinating. One of my favorite all-time wrestling moves is the DDT. He had everything going for it. And then Matt tells me that story, and it just ruined Jake the Snake for me. I was like, man, I liked him too, and now I can't out of my loyalty to Matt. So
Yeah, I can't do it either. You ever like listen to a podcast and all of a sudden like another podcast will come up that it's kind of like in the same genre, and you'll just start listening to it. And I started listening to the Snake Pit, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna listen to this because all I can just picture is what Matt told us. But once again, thank you, Matt. So everything's up on YouTube. Also, if you join Patreon, I'm trying to edit within a day or two the episode, so you could actually listen to the episode earlier if you join Patreon before it's up and fully released. So you could, get your Nostalgia Funhouse fix earlier.
Yeah, our goal is to, by October, we want to be able to afford, and we're going to make a giant deal out of it if we're able to do this.
Oh yeah,
the Ghost of Mr. Chicken. We're going to make it such a humongous deal.
That's like a 2-3 hour episode because we need to write a story about how
yes.
fought. I mean, this is.
I'm not even kidding, Andrew. That movie used to be one of my always watching Octobers, and I refused to watch it this past year.
Cornette
because
made a reference.
Couldn't afford it.
Cornette made a reference to it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So help us get there. We want to be able to watch and review the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, because Don Knotts rules and he deserves it. So
yeah,
join our Patreon. You get a lot of cool stuff there. Check out all our social medias. Like I said, we thank all of you for your support. It means a lot. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up this year.
Yes, we do. And with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.
And I done and gone went.